Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Casper. And I do apologize if I do sound a little bit weird. I am getting a little bit sick, but all good nonetheless. So sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I just want to ask you guys to please leave a like on this video. It does help the channel grow immensely. You guys have no idea how much it does truly help, and it only takes about like 2 seconds, and I do greatly appreciate it. Now, with all of that in mind, we are watching the market closely today. As I said, I wouldn't buy into the FOMO last night. I would more so watch for Monday's stock opens. And, we had a little bit of a volatile ride. It wasn't nothing too crazy, but we hit about 45.5K on Bitcoin. In terms of assets like Casper, so let's actually go over to Casper real quick. We came down to about 1092 in terms of cents. We came down pretty low, and a lot of people probably thought that this was a fairly significant drop. To be completely honest with you guys, when we're talking about Casper, I've always said, watch for that, 702 retracement. It's around the 10.5 centile range. It's like 1072. Check out that perfect almost retest of that point. So, that fib level is very significant to say the least. Yeah, we usually dip down a little bit below it, as you guys do see in the past, but for the most part, as long as that holds, I do suspect that this is still fairly strong. I did say that we could even retest down to the 786, which is around almost 9 cents. And of course, like I said, around those points, that's pretty much where I will buy some massive bags of Casper. So again, overall, just to sum it up, the price action, is a little bit weak since we hit that, 24 centile range all the way up here. This is pretty much going back to November 30th. You can see that the RSI is actually fairly good in terms of the points where it's at. Not, a weak RSI at all. I mean, of course, we did hit about almost 30, so, you could argue that it is a little bit weak, but we are having a little bit of a strong bounce from here. It's nothing too crazy. I do want us back over 50 in terms of RSI, and I do want us to be back into the range where we were back in, November, around the November 30th timeframe. So, just to give you guys a little bit of a sum up, price action looks a little bit, weak, but I do suspect that if we can get a strong bounce from here and have that 702 pretty much hold, that would be very significant. Now let's go check out the Bitcoin price chart for this, and let's actually really address this. So again, in terms of the strength that we want to hold, or the level that we want to hold, it's essentially the 239 sat level, which, as you guys do see, we just recently dipped a little bit below it, but we're actually not on the bottom of the candles from back here anyway, so there we go. So it's almost like a perfect retest of that major support, going all the way back to the November demand zones from the 16th, 15th, 17th, 18th, and so forth. And it looks like a little bit of a strong bounce from here, nothing too crazy, of course, but I do want us to grasp some more levels before we do validate Casper being bottomed out here officially. But in terms of the RSI strength, again, I do want it back over 50 for not only the Bitcoin pair, but also the USD pair. And of course, as the Bitcoin price chart for Casper does gain strength, so will the USD pair. Now, I do believe that we are in store for a very bright future for Casper, and the reasoning behind this is that I do believe that a lot of layer 1 networks will continue to get a lot of demand in them, especially as Ethereum continues to increase in price. Like, everybody wants to celebrate not Casper, but Ethereum going to like 5 to 10 to 20K, but I don't think people realize how much the transaction fees are going to be at those prices, because similar to Bitcoin, the higher the price goes, the higher the transaction fees go as well to utilize that network. Now, with Casper, we do know that this is the first live proof-of-stake blockchain built off of the Casper CBC specification, and of course, in terms of the specs for this, so you can pretty much see the ROI, 600 and almost 80x from this point to the all-time high, which is around like $20. That's like $20 to $40, with some being like $60. It all depends on where you're looking at. I know TradingView doesn't really tell us the all-time high. I don't think so, at least. Let's go back to the Casper USD pair. I think it says like, I want to say like $20 or something like that. So actually, no, this this shows like $66, so never mind. But it all is different on multiple exchanges. Like even Coinbase shows like $18 and stuff like that. But of course, everything that I've always talked about in terms of, Casper, this is the enterprise and the developer grade, enterprise grade layer 1 network to really be utilized. And of course, you can pretty much see that over here. Casper is designed to accelerate enterprise and developer adoption of blockchain technology today and evolve to meet user needs in the future. But like I said, layer 1s, the reason why I'm always interested into layer 1s and specifically scalable layer 1s that have cheaper transaction fees or predictable network fees, as Casper does, is because when we're talking about mainstream adoption for these major networks and stuff like this, or just crypto adoption in general, first off, we do see here, to enable that growth, more people need to learn about the alternatives to expensive layer 1 chains where gas fees can sometimes cost more than the transaction itself. And sometimes you really don't know how much the gas fee is going to be. It's a prediction, realistically speaking. Now, of course, this was going back, a little bit further in time, where we did see the crypto's market cap being around 773 billion. Now it's over 2.3 trillion, and then of course, annual growth of more than $1.5 trillion definitely suggests that mass adoption has begun, but there's still a lot of room for crypto to continue to grow. And like I suspect it is true that we have a ton of growth ahead of us. But like I said, layer 1s are very expensive unless you can get predictable gas fees. That's why I believe that Casper is a perfect choice for enterprise and developer needs. Now, in terms of, the social metrics, which I always like to look at, excuse me, we are down significantly in terms of social volume, engagement, dominance, and all that kind of stuff. I know I haven't talked about Casper in a very long time. I do apologize. It's just, there's not a lot of news being released right now on Casper, but I will try my best and, of course, give you guys that content that you guys do like to see. Now, I'm not logged in yet on here, but, overall, you can pretty much see the 1 week growth here. I don't know if the 1 day, so the 1 day is actually showing us a little bit of a different story here. I don't know if this is a glitch, but it's saying social engagement is up 2,000%, which I think is a little bit of a glitch because the 1 week is still fairly down. But overall, in terms of the social engagement, I do believe that a lot of these assets are still in a bad point for social metrics. It's similar to a lot of altcoins because of the market sentiment right now. I believe that we have a little bit more time before a lot of these alts flip into the green point, but that's why I think that, at these current levels, it's almost a perfect accumulation point, especially if we are looking more so for an extended bull run, which I know a lot of people think that that is, sort of a fairy tale, but in my mind, I think that we are in an extended bull run for a lot of these altcoins. Casper definitely one of them, and Casper being around the point where I was accumulating, even going back to October, before it did run to 24 cents, is a pretty good steal. Now, of course, that is my opinion. Of course, do your own research, understand what Casper is doing and becoming, and, pretty much take it from there. But we know that Ethereum is almost becoming unusable for the retail individual. This is just on December 9th alone. Ethereum transaction fees are running sky high. That's infuriating users and boosting rivals like Solana and Avalanche. And of course, a lot of these other networks are gaining a lot of publicity. Solana itself, though, continuing to go down due to just like one NFT project or being DDoSed. Avalanche, I've heard some good things about overall, nothing too crazy, but we do know that Solana has issues. We've talked about it multiple times on this channel. And when we're talking about a lot of the layer 1s, I do believe that Casper is well ahead of some of these, especially, in terms of Solana. But we do see the idea that Ethereum transaction fees are definitely running sky high, which is leading to a lot of individuals trying to turn to other, assets and other networks, especially, for an example, Casper. So that's where I do believe that Casper will shine. And of course, even December 15th, gas fees could be Ethereum's kryptonite. So understand that these layer 1s will succeed because of Ethereum's problems. I know that that is a terrible way to put it, but in terms of a developer, in terms of an enterprise grade company, you'd want something that has predictable gas fees, something that could run efficiently, something that is scalable. And guess what Casper is? All three of those. Now, overall, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about Ethereum in general, because there are ecosystems out here that are growing day by day, and they even see that here, as competing ecosystems grow, there's a bigger threat to Ethereum's dominance. Now, I know everybody has been saying like, hey, this is an Ethereum killer, this is an Ethereum killer, and like we've been hearing that for a very long time. Don't get me wrong, I do think that HODL or HBAR is definitely a massive name in this space. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from HODL, and I'm not saying Casper is better than HODL. I just think ROI standpoint, this bull run alone, Casper does have greater ROI potential. But I will say this, in terms of Ethereum, we know that there's extremely bad issues with the network. It's unsustainable at this point, especially from an overall standpoint in terms of transactional, prices. And we do see that here, right? Here's the transactions per day in percentage change. You could see how it's stable. But you could see the average gas price percentage change continuing to skyrocket as there's not that much transactional flow. Now imagine if this amount of transaction flow was on, say for so, Casper, okay? You'd see a very different graph. You'd see in terms of the average gas price in terms of a percentage change point, pretty stable as well because it's predictable gas fees. This is the issue. And of course you see problems like developer challenges, in terms of crypto utility moments. I think a lot of other networks are going to really kind of prosper ahead of Ethereum in terms of usability. That's also why we even seen this year alone, Herasoft team leaves Ethereum citing high gas cost and low latency. Now, of course, they did choose Casper. We do see our enterprise software company, Herasoft, will migrate its gold-backed tokens onto the Casper blockchain. Casper Labs will help the migration of Herasoft dApps written in Solidity to its blockchain written in Rust. The process of migration will be achieved through Casper Solidity to Rust transpiler called the Caspiler. Now, with all of this in mind, they are choosing Casper because of the lower cost and, of course, the higher, well, technically, it's just a lot faster in terms of latency. But, it's also the fact that Casper is, superior in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that Casper is going to absolutely kill Ethereum, but I do believe that it definitely does rival it. I do believe that when we're seeing things like this, right, where Ethereum's upgrade delays difficulty bomb, and this got pushed even further out than, June 22nd. In my opinion, I think that, or 2022, sorry, I think that this is actually going to get delayed yet again. When you need to upgrade a network countless times to solve the problem of scalability and even in general gas fees, there's an issue. That also shows, one, developers and also even enterprise grade solutions that there's a problem with your network. Now, like I said, with all of this in mind, layer ones are definitely going to prosper, and I do believe that Casper is definitely one to keep in the back of your mind. I know there's HODL, there's other networks out there that are very good as well, but Casper should definitely be in your portfolio, even if you are holding HBAR, because there's a ton of ROI value from here. We are still at bottom barrel prices. Yeah, sure, we're at 11.5 cents, but go back to the summertime where we did hit the bottom stage. And yes, I do believe that this is the bottom stage. I don't think that we go, I honestly don't even think we come near these prices, again, in my opinion, until, of course, maybe later down the road, maybe during a bear market. It depends on how high Casper goes, but we're only up 124.7% from those bottom prices to our current price. And I know that that might seem like a lot to some individuals, but it's really not when you look at a lot of these other assets. Even to the all-time, well, not all-time high, but the high just recently, we're talking more so about a 370% run. Again, year-to-date percentages, you can pretty much see that there is a ton of assets in the space that have done massive figures in terms of percentage runs. Solana itself doing a 9,495% run from its, this year alone, right? So, pay attention to what is, out there. Pay attention to what is being built. In my opinion, Casper is probably one of the most undervalued gems in this space, not because of what they are building, not because of what they are doing, but because of its year-to-date percentage values. Okay, if we come over here to, CoinMarketCap and really kind of look at this, look at the year-to-date. From its all-time low, it's only up 130%. Casper ROI this year alone, 287.7%. And I know to some people that might sound like a lot, especially if you are looking at it, with stocks versus crypto, but this is crypto. Things move fast. And in my mind, I believe that Casper has the potential to definitely move a lot more than 130%. I don't think this thing is done at all. I think a lot of people realize how big Casper is going to be, especially, in my opinion, I think that the network revolution to really kind of see which one is going to really kind of outscale Ethereum and become, the dominant network, I think that that's coming very soon. So with all of that in mind, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.